Hello everyone and welcome to Procurement in the Park. I'm Christian Schuh and today I'm going to road test the very latest big chatbot on the market. You may remember that in previous videos I reviewed OpenAI's ChatGPT and Microsoft's New Bing. Now, after several weeks of waiting, I have finally got access to Google's Bard. The question is it better or as good as either ChatGPT or New Bing? Was the wait worth it? Is it ready for use by corporate procurement functions today? In my opinion, the answer is no, not yet. Before I show you how I arrived at this answer, I should preface my remarks by saying that I'm a great admirer of Google. Who couldn't be? In the search business, it stands head and shoulders above all of its rivals. Like most of you, I'm sure, there isn't a day that goes by when I don't Google something that I want to find out more about. But the search business is starting to change. And the extent to which Google can retain its leadership in the search business will depend on its ability to develop a chatbot that does more than return a few blue links. Now it is clear that customers are increasingly wanting some kind of elegantly scripted guided tour through the possible sources of information. Also, they want an AI assistant that can offer some time-saving and cost-reducing support, including drafting letters, reports, and other documents. You would have thought that Google would be equal to the task of giving customers what they want. Indeed, by choosing the name Bard for its chatbot, Google is giving customers every indication that it can offer customers not only a comprehensive service, but also one with a Shakespearean flourish. Unfortunately, Google doesn't deliver on this promise. How did I arrive at this conclusion? Let me show you how I road tested Google Bard's capabilities. To ensure a fair comparison with the other chatbots, I set Bard the same three tasks that I set ChatGPT and New Bing. The first and most important task was to draft a letter from a buyer to one of its suppliers of printed circuit boards or PCBs. It gave Bard a significant amount of material to work with. So in a sense, the task was primarily to package my jumble of facts and figures into a coherent professional document. Specifically, the letter needed to tell the supplier that its poor performance had caused it to fall from number 2 to number 4 in the supplier rankings. Inform the supplier that it would be losing 15% of the business as a result of this poor performance. Encourage the supplier to get back on track. The speed of Bard's response was astonishing. It took just 7 seconds to draft the letter, as against 32 seconds for ChatGPT and about a minute and a half for New Bing. But if the speed of response is important, the quality of the response is more important. And in this regard, Bard trailed far behind ChatGPT and New Bing. It omitted some key information and committed some egregious errors that would require human intervention to correct. For example, it completely ignored the critical fact that the supplier had fallen down the performance rankings. And then it inserted a made-up fact that the buyer, and I quote, received several complaints from our customers about the quality of your PCBs. How Bard came to hallucinate this erroneous piece of information is anyone's guess. It is really quite bizarre, not least because the buyer writing this letter is, of course, the supplier's customer. Also, Bart chose to adopt a rather aggressive tone, not the kind of constructive tone that a buyer would normally want to strike when dealing with a generally well-performing supplier of an essential product. At one point, Bart said the letter should, and I quote, serve as a wake-up call to the supplier. Building on this confrontational stance, Bart then issued an unveiled threat. Again, I quote, we cannot continue to do business with you if you don't improve your performance. Finally, when recommending some next steps, Bart offered some banal, tautological advice. For example, to improve its delivery performance, the supplier was encouraged to improve your delivery process. All in all then, Bart gave a mediocre performance in the first task. So how could it do with the next two tasks? Essentially, these two tasks were search-based questions. The first asked Bart, are there any recent developments in the PCB industry that I should consider? The second asked, which other industries beyond the automotive industry are using PCBs and what is the market size? When I asked the same questions of ChatGPT and New Bing, the responses were disappointing. Given Google's reputation for search, I was expecting the responses to be altogether better than theirs. But while Bart's responses were no worse than the responses of the other two chatbots, they were certainly not better either. On the question of recent developments, I was told I needed to consider the rise of 5G because it is driving demand for high-speed, high-density PCBs. I also needed to consider the growth of the Internet of Things because IoT devices require small, lightweight and energy-efficient PCBs. Well, I'm sure you'll agree that no self-respecting procurement manager needs a chatbot to tell them that. On the question about market size, I was told that the global PCB market is expected to reach $128 billion by 2030. So this may or may not be true, but it was concerning that Bart did not provide the source for this statistic. For now at least, I think it will be safer to use Google's traditional search function rather than its Bart chatbot to answer these types of questions. So what should we take away from this road testing of the big three chatbots? As things stand today, first, none of the chatbots are reliable enough as market research assistants for procurement managers. Second, ChatGPT and Microsoft's New Bing are best placed to help CPOs with the time-saving task of preparing the first drafts of letters to the bulk of suppliers. Third, Google is playing catch-up, but given its record, its Bart chatbot is likely to improve over the coming months. Going forward, we need to monitor the progress of all these AI tools because they're likely to become part of our working lives in the years ahead. In the 2 months that passed between the road test I conducted on ChatGPT and the road test I have now conducted on Bart, a big controversy has erupted over the continued use of AI. In March, a group of more than 1,000 eminent scientists and entrepreneurs, including Elon Musk, one of the early investors in OpenAI, and Steve Wozniak, Apple's co-founder, called for a 6-month pause on AI experiments. They said AI presents profound risks to society and humanity. Then in April, a group of AI leaders, including Eric Horowitz, Microsoft Chief Scientific Officer, released a letter warning of the risks of AI. Now, Geoffrey Hinton, the British-born computer scientist, sometimes dubbed the godfather of AI, has resigned from his senior role at Google so that he can speak more freely about the risks of AI. Talking to the New York Times earlier this month, he said that while AI takes away the drudge work, it might take away more than that. He added, it is hard to see how you can prevent the bad actors from using it for bad things. In my view, however, the genie is out of the bottle. Like it or not, AI is here to stay. Yes, AI tools do need to be handled with caution, but they can really add value. As I explained in my book, Profit from the Source, published last year by Harvard Business Review Press, AI tools such as chatbots have significant potential to help companies looking to automate the routine communication with the bulk of their suppliers. The 95% on the left-hand side of the supplier relationship management framework who offer little or no strategic value. Thank you for watching. I'm Christian Schuh, and this is Procurement in the Park.